look at me.
Okay, it's Rick, R-I-C-K,
Okay.
Hines, H-I-N-E-S.
And are you captain?
No, I'm just a firefighter paramedic with the Indianapolis Fire Department.
What was going through your mind when the call went out?
You know, you always worry about animals being stuck on ice, and the main reason you worry about it is civilians who don't have the right equipment and the right training trying to go out and save the dog themselves. And I think that's our primary goal in doing a ice rescue of an animal, is just to prevent civilians not only being humane to save the animal, but also to prevent civilians or non-trained people trying to attempt the rescue.
When you got here on scene, what did you first come across and see once you got down to the shore?
We got down the shoreline. The ice, you could see the current moving underneath the ice. The ice we knew was about a ½ inch thick, and there was a lot of spots where the water had already melted. In Indiana, there's never really any good ice, so you never assume that the ice is going to be stable enough to walk on at any time in Indiana.
And what was the little boat or whatever it is you guys were using to get out there?
It's called an ice sked or ice sled. It's as a dual purpose. It floats, as you saw, but also if the ice is thick enough, you can just slide that right across the ice. So it's basically for our safety. It allows us to walk across the ice, and also if the ice breaks through, to float like you saw today.
You look a little tired and a little winded.
I'm beat.
Can you describe that? Describe that for me.
Every muscle in your body aches. Your hand muscle aches, and your grip, you lose your grip because you're trying to break the ice and paddle. The suits that we wear keep us warm. I mean, if anything, I was probably overly warm. They don't allow the sweat or the heat to escape. So it adds a little bit of fatigue because you're sweating in that suit. It's not allowing your body to give off the sweat, and you're burning a lot of calories doing that.
I noticed you kind of stopped, took a breather, and then went right back. Can you describe that moment?
I guess it'd be a moment of maybe self-determination, or finding it in yourself to push on a little bit farther, a little bit harder.
Your thoughts as you're trying to get closer to the dog, you're working through the ice, what's going through your mind?
Trying to keep a stable platform, trying to decide the best way to come upon the dog, and he started moving away from me. So a couple reasons I stopped, not only to try to gain a little bit more physical strength and to rehab myself a little bit, but also to try to develop a plan of action. What am I going to do if he goes off the back side into the water or the front side into the water, to try to decide what's going to be the best way to maneuver to get to the dog.
Dog seemed friendly when you got close?
Yeah, I think he was saying thank you. As I was too, thank you.
You're trying to maneuver the pike pole to get the dog and that kind of thing. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Just trying to, the animal control brought us a leash, but it wasn't long enough, and I thought if I could get that pike pole around his collar, I could move him forward. I tried to hook it and twist it a little bit so it would stay on, but at that point, as far as hand strength, I didn't have a lot of hand strength left, so just trying to maneuver to pull it toward me, and I was just worked out, I guess. I got him toward me.
Can you describe the weather just a little bit for me? Just
you know, in the suit I'm not affected by the climate, but it's probably, I would guess, in the 20s out. There's just a light amount of wind moving, not much, but there was enough that it was moving the current underneath the water.
Any concern about the dog? What would you have done if the dog had gone in the water?
Oh, I'd have got him. I'd have got him up on me. But I knew once I got his front paws on a sked and I had a hold of his collar, and those guys on the shore were pulling me, that we were able to get him back.
It looked like a lot of team effort there. Can
yes.
you describe that amongst
Yes,
your
you know, firefighting or anything like that is a team sport and a team effort. There's a lot of people, from the safety officer concerned about our safety, the dive commander making sure things are done right, the insect commander, and then also everybody that's tending the ropes. It's real comforting to know that those guys have your back. If I fall in the water, I get too fatigued or something happens and I have to come back immediately. And obviously you saw at the end when I grabbed a hold of the dog, it was all I could do to hold the dog, and those guys pulled me back. So it was just, it was fortunate I had the suit on, I guess, today, but I couldn't have done it without everybody behind me.
Any last thoughts? Anything else you want to say? I know you're tired. I don't want to drag you.
If there's no safe ice in Indiana, always remember that. And secondly, if you see an animal on the ice, call us. Well, don't try to get it out yourself. You saw the time and effort it took me to get a dog. I mean, heaven forbid that had been a kid or a human, you know, the hypothermia would have set in, and it probably would have had a little bit of a different outcome.
How long do you think it took from the time you reached the shore to the time you brought the dog back? How long do you think that took you?
Oh, I have no concept. 45 minutes maybe? I don't know. I have no concept.
Okay.
So.